Hi everyone. Today we have Rohan with us on the Next Step series. The idea of this series is to speak to different people to understand what kind of career paths did they take and what kind of decision making went on that journey. Welcome, Rohan.
Hey guys, thanks for having me over. Yeah,
So, Rohan, why don't you take a few minutes to introduce yourself before we get
sure,
started?
sure. So, hey everyone, my name is Rohan Nagpal, and I'm currently working as an associate, a senior associate with Ernst& Young Singapore. And so, over the last 4 years, I've been primarily involved with consulting firms. So, I was a part of KPMG in India. I was working with the KPMG India division for around 3 years, and I made the switch to Ernst& Young Singapore last year. And I primarily work in the technology consulting division. So, and I look into more of risk audits. So it's more of an integration between technology and business. Yeah.
Sure. Rohan, you have done mechanical engineering, right? And
Yes.
then you went into something like consulting.
Correct.
So I
Yeah.
wanted to understand a little bit, like, in the 4 years of engineering when you were pursuing that, were
Sure.
you always interested in like a non-core career path, or did this just happen for you? So what exactly went through during that time?
Sure. Sure. So to be honest, like every Indian kid, I was interested in technology, and I thought, just go ahead with like engineering. And I was good with computing, like with computers, beg your pardon, and with coding, but I was more fascinated with machines and robotics. So I thought, well, why not just go ahead and do my mechanical engineering. But when I went into the course, even though my grades were fairly consistent and I was doing well, I realized that this was something which didn't intrigue me. And in the long run, I knew that I wanted to get an MBA. So towards the third year and towards the fourth year, when normally engineering students in India start thinking about placements or what's the next step, I realized that and I spoke to certain seniors who were working in these core roles such as in research or as some graduate engineers and the big engineering and manufacturing firms. And I realized, okay, this is something which does not interest me, and I don't see myself doing this for the next 20-30 years. So what people don't normally realize is you got to do the same thing uh, for a span of time, unless you want to switch roles. So I and that's where I started uh, speaking to people outside the engineering domain, so friends, seniors, and families. And they said the consulting domain gives you a brief idea of how businesses work. So I knew coming from an engineering domain, I won't get the strategy or the core strategy consulting roles, but I knew I'd get the risk and technology consulting roles, wherein there would still be some business element to it. So I could probably explain how my role has some business elements when I probably discuss more on my role. But yeah, to give a brief overview, yeah, this was my thought process about uh, getting into consulting and not taking on a core role. Yeah, but to be frank, for people coming in from India and during the engineering placements, the peer pressure does get to you. So I did sit for a few companies when I because you see all your friends getting placed and you're wondering what's happening. But then I did even get through a few companies. But during my interview process, I luckily had the opportunity to discuss with the interviewer on what my role will be and what my contribution would be to the organization. And I realized that no, this is something which doesn't interest me and it won't be intriguing enough. So I took a leap of faith and I switched over from mechanical engineering to technology consulting. And here I primarily work in the IT sphere. So it was something which I didn't study at all. But from experience, all I can say is that you have to learn on the job, be it something from your core aspect learned in college to, if you're planning to jump onto something completely new.
And just I wanted to also understand from you, like if you look back at your journey now, I think you spoke about a few things that are important, right? Like for example, you did networking, you understood that this is not what you want to do. So would there be a few things that come to your mind which would be important for students who are in engineering colleges or in undergrad colleges and are thinking about their first job? So,
Sure.
would there be any pointers that come to your mind specifically from your journey and your realization?
So yeah, one key point, like I mentioned, was that don't give in to peer pressure. So what I've noticed in these engineering colleges that is, there's this saying in Hindi, bhai placement lag gayi, bhai placement lag gayi. I wouldn't go by that approach, because like all of us are naive when we're like 21, 22, and then we realize that no, it's more about getting placed. But then I've seen a few friends where they've gone into the role and then they've really not liked the job, to the extent where they join the company, and then within a few months they decided that this is not what they want to do. So that would be one key uh, insight, one advice if I could give from experience, is that don't give in to peer pressure. Secondly, I don't know about other colleges, but back in Manipal, I'm from Manipal Institute of Technology. So we have different clubs outside the engineering sphere. So say a finance club or a consulting club. So for someone who's not interested in core engineering jobs, a good avenue or sphere would be to join these clubs. So I totally recommend exploring outside. And at the same time, third key aspect that like which helped me was networking outside my college. So what happens is, a lot of times we're still young and we're still within you're still in college, and our network is restricted to people within our college. And so even when you're talking to seniors, they're mostly like from your, say, I was from mechanical engineering. So one mistake I made in my second and third year was interacting only with seniors in my domain, and that kind of limited my view of what kind of jobs are available outside. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think it would be these three areas. Like be open to whatever information you're getting, and at the same time, like what you guys are doing is incredibly I think informative. So I think even students can currently look at your videos and get inspiration from people like me in different spheres. Yeah.
So, I want to talk a little bit about your job, right? So,
Sure.
you transition from being an analyst into a consultant now.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
if I have to ask you, like, what have been your roles and responsibilities like, and how have they
Okay.
transitioned over these last 3 to 4 years that you have been
Sure.
in this space?
Sure.
So, if you can
Sure.
give some insight on that.
Sure. So to better answer that question, I just like to give some information on what my role specifically is, because consulting is very broad. So I am within the risk consulting division. So I was earlier working with KPMG and now with EY. So within this, within the risk consulting division, I work towards uh, automating business controls, and we look at IT audits. So to give you an overview, like every organization uses ERP tools for the accounting, and in back in the day, accounting used to be fairly manual, but now there's some technology involved in it. So as a risk consultant, my role is to understand the business processes, say a procure to pay, an order to cash, or an inventory cycle. And with my clients, I can't name them, I'm sorry, but with my clients, actually implementing technologies, there are certain risks which come with automating your business processes. So my role as a risk consultant is to come up with certain controls which will actually help mitigate those uh, risks of implementing technology in the business. So as a part of my role, it requires me to have an in-depth understanding of ERPs and IT controls. But at the same time, to form controls, I need to have an understanding of business processes. So I need to understand, say, for a layman person, I need to understand how an order to cash cycle works, how a procure to pay cycle works, and come up with the risks and help the client form controls, so that ultimately there's no financial fraud. So the overall objective is to implement technology in business and to prevent financial fraud. So yeah, coming back to your question, as an analyst back in India, so the first year of consulting is more on learning on the job. So you're supervised by consultants. So it's more like for someone like me coming with no business background. My consultants, my seniors on the job, they help me understand how a business cycle works. Like say within an organization, what are the different business cycles? So coming from an engineering background, many people don't know that what constitutes an organization. So give any industry, say if I have to relate this to an engineering student, say a Maruti also has a sales division, it has a procurement division, it has a marketing division, and within each business cycle, there are certain controls and risks. So you need to have an overall understanding of how business works. So the first year was more about understanding business cycles, understanding how technology is implemented into these cycles, and carrying out field work. Moving to an associate consultant, which is the second year of consulting in India, it's more of being let go. So in the first year, there's still some hand holding by your consultants, help you execute these projects. But more towards second year, it's when you need to interact with clients on your own, and you need to execute projects. Coming to a consultant level, where I left KPMG in India as a consultant. So this was where you actually start managing projects. So it's even within the projects that we do within KPMG, that it's not just about execution. So there are budgets, there's program management, project management, beg your pardon. So it's more about managing resources, reviewing their work, presenting your key observations or insights to clients. So say coming up with presentations, PPTs, and at our level, we work with the managers to present our insights and observations to clients at a board level. So this is where I left my job at India, and coming to Singapore. I'm an associate too right now, and I'm again due to be a senior associate. So my role is fairly similar to what I left back in India. So currently, I supervise my associates' work, and we budget projects. So even when you're interacting with clients, you gotta need to say charge a fee for your services. You need to do an estimation of, say, if you're going to cover this business area, what will be our work estimation, so what resources will be there. So this is one area, but primarily still at my level, we look at supervising our associates work, and to give them improvement points. Yeah.
Makes sense. Um, so if I have to ask you, about your transition from India to Singapore, right? This is something which people usually think about, and they feel that moving to an international role is something which is very difficult. So would you have some pointers here where you can, talk about how did you navigate this journey, and what can people do to, if they are looking at roles abroad, what can they do to crack them?
Sure, definitely. So how I went about my journey was, I knew I wanted to get an MBA degree later on, and I was focusing on international B schools, and I realized that a lot of them place a lot of emphasis on diversity and working in diverse environments. And so I thought, before I enroll into B school, why not get some international experience? And so I started my research on LinkedIn, where I started researching based on my current skill set that I've developed that I had developed, beg your pardon, with KPMG. What roles could I possibly get in Singapore? Or I was primarily looking at Singapore for two reasons. A, it was closer to home, and B, that it's a very stable market. So even given how COVID has started right now and other markets have been shattered, Singapore has been a very strong and stable economy. So I started researching on LinkedIn, started connecting with people. So a lot of times I've noticed, like, people in India, they're not very, they're not upfront in like networking. So one key advice would be, to like probably shoot in an email, or just send in a note to people working in these roles you're looking for abroad. And yeah, I do agree. Majority of the times, there aren't any responses, because uh, our jobs truly keep us occupied around the clock. But like, I reached out to them, showed them interest. What could I bring to the job, and how the company could, how the company was a fit for me. And yeah, so I did a lot of research, and finally, so through LinkedIn, I got a role with EVA Singapore. Yeah. Before moving abroad, one key advice I would give is be very strong. Like, you need to have a base. So these companies abroad do not just take you, like, say you graduate out of engineering college and you're looking to apply. There are cases, but it's a rarity. So you need to have, at least at an undergraduate level. I am not aware of, say, what roles are available after your MBA, because I haven't done that yet. But usually at an undergraduate level, companies abroad are not willing to hire you, because it's definitely, they're taking on a risk if they do so. So my advice to freshers, or like people just graduating out of engineering school or any school for that matter, would be spend the first few years in, picking up a key skill set. So, and then once, you believe you have a certain level of efficiency in that skill set, that's when you can start reaching out to companies abroad, saying that, okay, I'm good in this area, and probably, I can benefit your organization. So that's how I went about it. And that would be my advice on how to transition and get a job in an international environment. Yeah.
And Rohan, you spoke about this, right? That you were sure about doing an MBA even when you were back in your days in engineering.
Yes.
So, why did you feel, one is that, okay, since the beginning you wanted to do, but do you think that over the time you have uh, understood better why you want to do an MBA?
Oh
And
yes.
why a master's course is important for you to progress in your career. So if you can talk
Sure.
about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, true. To be honest, initially it was more again about peer pressure when I was young about getting an MBA, and because everyone was it's a standard path in India. You do engineering, you get an MBA, and I was trying to follow the herd, but that's not the right way to go about it. So I stuck to my gut feeling, and I got some consulting experience, and now I can say I'm in a much better place to Uh, gauge the reasons why I want to do an MBA. So, so through my consulting experiences, where I've been, like I mentioned, I'm in the tech consulting division, which integrates technology with business, but it's more towards, addressing certain risks in my clients' processes and forming controls. So this is more towards a compliance side. And, so having done this for the last 2 to 3 years, I realized that, my interest lied more towards the business side. And so having formed a strong skill set and having a deep knowledge of processes, and I can transition into the strategy side now, wherein I can help my clients improve on their KPIs, their performance indicators. And so I realized that in my current projects, a lot of times the client was not actually appreciative of what we're recommending, and because they had issues with other areas, say capital issues, cash flow issues, to actually implement controls we were suggesting. So and coming from like still I'm still an engineer, and I'm still working in the tech consulting sphere. So I wasn't able to actually understand the root cause of what my client was saying. So this is why I realized that okay, if I actually do an MBA where I get the basics of different management skills such as operations, marketing, finance, I'll be able to better understand the organization as a whole. So right now I have understanding of business cycles, but there is more to an organization than just business cycle. It's more about understanding the different functions and departments as well, apart from the processes. So an MBA would be the next logical step, because that's where I learn all this, and it will help me transition into say a role of say an operational consultant or a strategy consultant, wherein I'll be able to understand the business process, and instead of coming from a risk and control point of view, I'll be able to help my client improve on their capitals and their PL statements. So ultimately I realized that as a consultant I was more inclined towards the strategy side, wherein we go in and when we help our consultants improve, or we help our clients, beg your pardon, improve their PL statements and help improve their processes. So this was something I was more inclined towards. So yeah, that's why I believe the MBA would be the next logical step.
Sure. I think another important point that it subtly happened for you was that having worked for some period of time, right? Because back in engineering, you were just thinking about an MBA, but having
Yeah,
worked for
so
3-4 years got that clarity.
correct, correct. So what happens is that like as as engineers, or as undergrad students, I'm not gonna tag like label students as engineers here. We just have this. We see people that they're working in McKinsey, they're working in BCG, they're working in Bain, and there are these lucrative roles in strategy consulting. Uh, I cannot talk for others, but from my point of view, even I was targeting these roles, but I actually didn't know what do these consultants actually do. And being a 22-year-old, you don't have the kind of knowledge to understand what do strategy consultants actually do. So I'm actually grateful that I got my experience with my current technology risk consulting in this domain, and I can now I have a better understanding of what goes in and what a consultant actually does. So yeah, so my current experience has definitely helped me to uh, have a better understanding of my goals. So in the MBA application itself, right, like a major question most B schools ask is what are your goals? So the work experience definitely comes in place here. So had I applied to B schools 3 years ago, I would be completely blank and vague about what my goals are. but having worked for the last 4 years, I am sure of what I want to do. And the surety is what you need to take in to your B school, yeah, and your MBA. Yeah.
So Rohan, this brings me to the last question that I have, which is
Sure.
that, based on your experience and looking at your journey, are there any parting thoughts or, some suggestions that you would have for people who are looking to or are interested in a career path like yours?
Okay, so I think in consulting, what we've been told, I can just try to reiterate that. So you kind of learn on the job daily. So to actually excel in the consulting sphere, you need to have a very open mind, and you need to probably keep learning on the job. So uh, back in the day, like at least I was told, when I was in school in engineering, that finish your 12th, do your engineering. Once you get your job, it's going to be stable, and but that's not true. With markets evolving, and with new technologies coming in. Like, just to give you an example with blockchain. So currently our team is also trying to transition into blockchain. So we need to keep learning about technologies. So one is to excel in consulting, you need to have an open mind. And secondly, you need to develop problem solving skills. So as consultants, we've been engaged by our clients to improve their processes. So like organizations already have a strong knowledge of the existing processes, but they actually recruit consultants. We're like external vendors to them, wherein we go ahead and we help them solve problems which they aren't able to solve themselves. So working on your problem solving skills is another key area. So yeah, and you need to be a good communicator. So a lot of times we have to go and pitch to clients, and like before we start projects, there are different consulting firms which are pitching for the same project. So it's like we got to pitch to the client. So you need to have strong communication skills. You need to have an open mind, and at the same time strong problem solving skills. So if you want to transition to consulting, I think these are the skills that you need. And to be frank, you don't need any prior background in specific. Like I transitioned myself from mechanical engineering to consulting, so it's more about your eagerness, and if you're keen to learn. And yeah, I think that's about it. So consulting is like anyone can pretty much join in consulting but it will be more towards the technology side, and from an engineering point of view, but you need to have these key traits like I mentioned.
So thank you so much, Rohan, for doing this. And I'm very sure,
My pleasure.
yeah, I'm very sure that this was like really insightful and helpful. So thank you
Um,
so much.